My name is Hannah, and this is my no-buy year. It's time for another empties video, and you guys, my empties are back to being numerous, and this is going to be another massive empties video. I have nothing to say in this intro except for that the reason I have so many empties this month is that I was traveling for more than half of the month, and right before I left on my first trip, my beautiful subscriber Jennifer gave me 2 boxes basically full of deluxe sample sizes, and a bunch of it was travel size skincare, which was really useful. I ended up taking lots of travel size skincare with me and using it all up, and so it just added a ton of little empties to my empties, and a lot of it was stuff that I hadn't tried before, and so I'm going to be able to review a bunch of things for you that I didn't know about before, which is good. But I feel like we had better go ahead and get straight into the meat of the video. Okay, these are 2 things that aren't actually empty. They are a shampoo and conditioner from Malin & Getz. I think a friend gave these to me. Either she got them in a hotel or as a sample size or something. I took these with me when I went to my writing residency way back in March, the one that was in Wyoming, and I used them either once or twice while I was there. You know, I only wash my hair like once a year, but I used them the one time I washed my hair when I was there, and maybe one other time. And it's peppermint shampoo and cilantro conditioner. I just found this shampoo to be incredibly stripping for my hair. Like, it made it so that my hair's oils came back with a vengeance, and my hair got too oily too fast after I had washed it, which my hair usually doesn't do. My hair is trained to become oily very slowly over the course of the 2 weeks that I usually go in between washes. Something about this shampoo triggered my scalp to overproduce oil. I feel like it made my hair too clean, if that makes any sense. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pass these on. At this point, I have enough shampoo to last the year. A friend recently gave me a bottle of my Holy Grail shampoo. She had bought it for herself, and then the smell gave her kind of an allergic reaction, so she ended up passing it on to me. That's the 1995 shampoo from IGK. It's the shampoo and texturizer in one. I love it to pieces. Plus, I still have some other samples, and Jennifer actually even gave me some shampoo samples. I'm not going to be running out of shampoo for months and months and months. I feel safe passing these on, essentially decluttering them, even though the year isn't out yet, because I know that I'm not going to end up breaking my rules by not having used these up, and there's no way I'm going to use them in my hair again, so they're going. I did use up these little sample packets of the Living Proof Perfect Hair Day shampoo and conditioner. I've reviewed these before in my empties. They're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them the way that there is for me with the Malin & Getz, but there's nothing remarkable about these to me. I wouldn't buy them. I used up the last little smidge of the Bumble & Bumble Don't Blow It hair styler. This is a type of product that I really like, and you'll see in my forthcoming hair video that I usually use a product like this, a product designed for wet hair to texturize wet hair and to naturally air dry. It's a cream. You put it in your hair when it's wet. You let it dry. For me, I let it dry overnight. You let it air dry, and it just enhances whatever natural texture you might have in your hair. It does work. I like this. There's a Briogeo one that I recently had a sample of. I think the empty of that was 1 or 2 months ago. That I liked more. And if I ever get to the point where I need to buy a product like this, then I'll probably be buying the Briogeo one, although this is a close second. I really do like this product. But at this point, again, I received some hair products from Jennifer that will serve in this one's stead, and I just have still so many random little hair things kicking around that I don't think I'm gonna be buying anything like this anytime soon. If you prefer not to heat style your hair, but you like that texture and that kind of messy, slept-in volume, this is a good one. There was this little shampoo bottle of the Rose 31 conditioner from Le Labo. This came from a fancy hotel that I stayed in with my sister when she was down in San Diego for a conference. And there's nothing remarkable about the conditioner. It works perfectly fine. It's the scent that matters, I feel, when it comes to Le Labo hair and body products. And the Rose 31 scent is really lovely. It's not overly floral. I don't tend to like florals, but I really like Rose 31. It's musky and kind of masculine, and it's a scent that I really love from them. I wouldn't buy this because I would rather buy a hair product that does something for my hair than one that just has a nice scent, but I like Rose 31. I like the scent, and it was nice to be able to use this a couple of times. So Jennifer in her box included 2 little deluxe sample sizes of the Brazilian Boom Boom Cream. You all know that I can't stand putting lotion on my body for the most part. I like to use solid chunks of cocoa butter when I'm in the shower to moisturize my body because my skin does get pretty dry in the winter. It's starting to get dry now, and it was really dry when I was traveling. So the exception to my lotion aversion is this. I really do like the Boom Boom Cream. I like the smell a lot. I love the smell just like everyone does, but I object to it on these grounds. It doesn't smell expensive to me. It smells like a really good smelling body spray from the drugstore or from Bath and Body Works or something. You know what I mean? Like it smells maybe like a spin-off of Herbal Essences shampoo. It doesn't smell very complex. It doesn't smell like there was a haute nose behind the development of this scent. So for that reason, though I find the smell addictive, very cozy and comforting, and I do really, really love having this lotion, for that reason, I would never be tempted to spend the price on this. I would spend the price on like a Le Labo Santal 33 lotion, like something that smells incredibly elevated and complex and deep. That's not this. This smells like pistachio vanilla candy. You know, it just smells like candy. It feels like candy, like warm, cozy marshmallows surrounding you. So I'm not against it. I just object to the price on a number of grounds. I'm never going to pay the amount that this costs for body lotion for the full size, but you better believe that when I opened that box from Jennifer and I saw these, I was like, yes. And I took one of each of these on each of my 2 trips. I took one to Portland and one to Albuquerque, and I used each one up completely while I was in that location. This is a Mario Badescu lotion, the Summer Shine body lotion that I purchased a couple of years ago when I still lived in Ann Arbor, and I hadn't quite yet figured out my brilliant solution to ultra dry skin that doesn't involve putting lotion on your cold, slimy body when you first get out of the shower. It's a pretty basic lotion that has some shimmer running through it. It's like the Brazilian Boom Boom Cream. It's actually got a little more shimmer than the Boom Boom Cream. It's not quite as shiny as like the Fenty Body Lava. Like it's not so shiny, it's not noticeably shiny, but it does leave some micro glitters on your skin, and I do like that. That's kind of why I bought it. I found out after I started getting really tired of having a bunch of lotion that I was trying to get through and not liking the feeling of putting it on my body, that this is one that actually holds up really well as an in-shower treatment. Some lotions, if you put them on your body in the shower and then rinse them off, which is what I prefer, I learned about that through the Lush products, and then I started trying to do it with my regular lotions. Some lotions just wash away. They don't have enough body, or they're not oily enough or something, and you just lose all your lotion down the drain if you do that. But this, it works just like those Lush ones. Like I would slather it on my body in the shower, rinse it off, gently pat dry, and I would be really, really moisturized and have like a layer of moisture on my skin, a layer of illuminating moisture. I actually really loved using this as an in-shower treatment, and it's really inexpensive. I think it might even only be $8 or $10 or something for this big old 6-ounce bottle. I won't buy this again because I didn't love it. I kind of had to make myself use it to get through it. So the fact that I was getting through it towards the end tells me that it's not something that I should buy again anytime soon. I also still have lotions. The second ingredient after water is peanut oil. And I think it's probably the peanut oil that gave it that super sticky and hydrating property. That was all the body care. How fast am I today? I'm doing so great. I mean, not by normal YouTube standards. By normal YouTube standards, the video would already be over. But by my standards, I'm doing amazing, especially for an empties video. The first thing that springs to my hand is the Gold and Snail hydrogel eye patches. And these have been in my empties before. This was a repurchase this year. I love eye patches. They are solidly a category in my skincare. I don't remember when it was that I had purchased these, but it was months ago. They lasted for some months. I think there are 50 pairs in here. And I love these. They work really well. They are only about $10. I get them on Amazon. Everything will be linked down below, God help me. And they just work beautifully. However, when I went to repurchase them, it was shortly before my trip, and I really depend on these when I travel because travel is one thing that kind of does my eyes in. I saw that they were empty. I only had a couple of days before I was leaving for my first trip to Portland, and I was like, I've got to order them right now so they'll be here on time. But they were not shipping in time to be here in time, basically. I started to place the order and then I saw that they weren't going to arrive until we had already left. So I looked around and I ended up purchasing a different brand of eye patches, and these are the ones I purchased. Moon Lab. They are Moon Lab Gold Snail Wrinkle Free Eye Patch, and they look exactly the same. They looked exactly the same in the picture, same shape, same color, same ingredients, same general marketing, same shape of the little container, just different branding. I just thought they're probably the same thing. So I ordered them, and they're not exactly the same thing, but I like them better. They are stickier to my eyes. These both have a lot of serum in them, but these are thicker. The gel patches themselves are thicker. And so I would stick them on, and sometimes they'd slide around just because they were stiff, and sometimes they'd slide up a little bit into my under eye area and into my eye a little bit and be irritating. These are very, very, very thin. They still have a lot of serum, but you peel them off and they're like really thin, and then they right onto my under eyes and they don't budge. They're much easier to wear and much less annoying. These never actively annoyed me. It was like I didn't know that they weren't ideal until I got these. Here is a little oil. So oil was something, all-purpose oil is one of my categories, and the oil that I'm using at home for my all-purpose oil right now is this Nyx Huile Protégée that Tara sent to me. I really like it. I've been using it on my face. I think some people use it just as a body lotion, but I've been using it face, body, hair, everywhere. It's working really well as an all-purpose oil, but I couldn't bring this with me. Well, I guess I could have. It's only 1.6 fluid ounces, but I didn't pack it to bring with me, and I was planning to go without an all-purpose oil for the time that I was traveling. I was just going to depend on my Luna oil and my UFO oils, but I do use a lot of all-purpose oil on my face, and so I was really excited when I opened the box from Jennifer to see that there were a number of little sample sizes of different oils. This was one of them. It is the Youth to the People Maki and Akai Prickly Pear Goji Super Berry Hydrate and Glow Oil. I found this very nourishing. It felt like a simple but rich oil. I felt like it had good ingredients. I didn't really research it, but it didn't irritate my skin. It was soothing to my skin, hydrating, moisturizing. It was really nice. Not too thick and oily, but it didn't sink right in and disappear either. It was perfect for layering onto my skin at night before I slept. It smells like it had an herbal or a natural scent, and then they tried to make it smell like cake. And it actually made me a little bit sick at the beginning when I first put it on. Not really sick, like it's not like I couldn't handle it, but I was like, this smells weird. I kept smelling it and it kept making me feel weird. And then weirdly, even weirdlier, the smell grew on me, and by the time this was out, I loved the smell. And I was sorry that it was finished. I haven't researched this at all. I don't know how much it costs, but I imagine it's expensive. I mean, I imagine it's more expensive than the $10 marula oil from The Ordinary, which is my usual all-purpose oil. I'm guessing that this is something for which I just had a chance to enjoy the sample and say that it's nice. It's a nice all-purpose oil. Another Youth to the People sample, same situation. This was the Kale and Spinach Green Tea Hyaluronic Acid Age Prevention Moisture Cream, and I didn't look up the exact price right before this video, but I know that I've looked this up before, and I know that it is a not hyper expensive. It's like relatively decent price for Sephora, but still for me, for a night cream, I need a low price. I'm looking into the CeraVe one. I'm pretty much out of all my night creams, you're gonna find out over the course of this video. I do have one thing left that I'm using, but I'm probably gonna be getting the CeraVe one, the CeraVe PM. That's been recommended to me basically 1,000 times by you guys. This, however, was wonderful for my super dry skin when I was traveling. There were 1 or 2 days, especially when I first got to Portland, like the first trip, it wasn't just 1 or 2 days even, it was like the first 3 days. By the end of it, I felt like it was an emergency. My skin was so dry and just looked like trash in a trash bag. And I put a thick layer of this on overnight, and in the morning it was like back to my old luminous, dewy, plump skin again. This is a really good product if this is a category in which you're willing to spend some money. But for me, night cream is one of the places where I really want to save. I have here a couple of essences. This is the Sulwhasoo First Care Activating Essence. It's an Amore Pacific product. I'm not sure what the relationship is between Amore Pacific and Sulwhasoo. I don't know if this is a spin-off brand or a brand within a brand or what, but this is a true first treatment essence. It's supposed to be the first thing that goes onto your face after you wash your face, and it helps to repair the barrier of your skin and pH balance your skin. And I do think Amore Pacific is a good brand for this type of product, mostly just because I've heard Gothamista talk about it. And when it comes to things like first treatment essences, Gothamista really knows her stuff. I've been using this, I used this whole bottle, I've been using it on my trip as a first treatment essence almost every day, because my first treatment essence from COSRX, the Galactomyces one, was too big for me to travel with. So I'm very grateful to Jennifer for including this in the box. And there is another one, there were 2. I'm gonna save the other one, but I wanted to go ahead and finish this one up since it was already opened. It's good. I've been using so many new to me skincare products this month because I was using up all these samples, and several of them were things I hadn't previously been using, that I can't attribute any positive change in my skin to any one of them, if that makes sense. I can't tell you that this changed my skin or something. All I can say is that it served in the role of a first treatment essence for me. I believe a first treatment essence is something that's really important to have for me. When I started using one, it really helped to calm down my skin. So I'm glad that I had one during my travels. Again, I don't know the price of this, but I know that Amore Pacific is a pretty pricey brand, and my COSRX Galactomyces one is only about $10. I'm probably gonna stick with that because of this category of skincare for me, but I did enjoy the experience of using this product. Everything about it was nice. Also received from Jennifer in that box a sample of the Believe Hungarian Water Essence. So this is a hydrating essence. It would be the second step. So when I was traveling, after I washed my face, I would pat in a pump or 2 of the essence that I just showed you, and then I would pat in a couple of pumps of the Believe Hungarian Water Essence. This is probably my all-time, that is probably my all-time favorite hydrating essence. I had another, maybe even a bigger sample size of it towards the beginning of the year, a pretty big deluxe sample size of it that I went through. I like using it so much. I find it so hydrating. I also just really like the experience. It soaks in easily. It's easy to use for the 7 Skin method. I love the pump. I love how easy it is to use the pump. And I was planning to buy it this year. I was planning to buy it when I ran out of all of my hydrating essences. But when it came time, I looked it up. I learned that it's $42, and that is too much for me to spend on skincare in that role. I ended up getting one from Hada Labo, the one that has 3 kinds of hyaluronic acid. I talked about it, I think, in my last empties. This, oh my gosh, you guys, this is so disgusting and busted. The Kate Somerville Plus Retinol Firming Eye Cream. This was my last eye cream. I'm gonna say that again. This was my last eye cream. October, end of October, very end of October was when I finished my last eye cream. I had 10 months worth of different eye creams at the beginning of the year. And that troubles me because I don't think this was good anymore by the time I got through it. I think it was about 1.5 years old, and it has actives in it. It was expensive. The fact that I had so many other eye creams mixed in amongst this one that was causing me to prolong the use of this one and take so long to finish this one, I think means that I didn't really get good use out of this one. I'm just putting it out there. If you are collecting and collecting different versions of the same skincare category, you may be running into the problem that I had run into with eye creams, which is that I had more than I was able to use within the time period that they were actually good. So I stubbornly made my way through this. I used it up, I slathered it on. I didn't really enjoy using it that much, and I also didn't feel like I could put it on my upper lids because it would make my eyes water when I was sleeping. I have been on a search for an eye cream that I could put on my eyelids as well as my under eyes. Because I have hooded eyes that are only getting droopier with time, it's important for me to be able to treat my eyelids. I received a deluxe sample size as a perk in a Sephora replacement order of the Drunk Elephant Sea Tango eye cream. And I learned when I used up that sample that I can put it on my eyelids without it irritating my eyelids. And I also really believe in the power of vitamin C as an ingredient. And I also really believe in Drunk Elephant's efficacy with packaging and formulating vitamin C products. So I replaced this category, and that is what I purchased. It's right here. It looks just like C Firma, but little. I really had to think about whether eye cream is something that's important enough to me for me to spend the money. For me with eye creams, I do notice a difference. I don't want to be without one, and I actually do. I think this isn't true for everyone. I think you have to kind of find out for yourself. Many people say they don't notice any difference no matter what they use, but for me, if I use a good one, I do notice a little bit of a difference around the edges of my eyes, and I think that that part of my eye is something that can make me look much older or much younger depending on how well I take care of it. And then of course there's the aforementioned issue of the drooping hooded eyes. That's something that I would like to stave off for as long as possible. This little sample packet of La Roche-Posay Toleriane Double Repair Moisturizer, I used it one night as a night cream, didn't notice anything. I think it was like soaked in by morning. I have nothing to say about that. This, on the other hand, the Dr. Roebuck's No Worries Hydrating Face Moisturizer. This saved my skin in Albuquerque. Absolutely saved my skin. The main ingredient after water is macadamia seed oil, and then it also has hyaluronic acid in it, and then it also has some essential oils, lavender oil, rosehip oil, and my skin loves essential oil. It was the same as Portland. It was like the first couple days in Albuquerque, I was desperate. I just felt like my skin had dried up like a little old prune, and so one night I just bit the bullet and I put a huge glob of this all over my face, and I woke up with truly healed, plump and dewy skin. And I loved this product. I loved using it. I loved how it smells. It's like the ideal night cream for me. It's simple but powerful, and it has those nice seed oils, and it has that nice essential oil, which is something that my skin responds well to. That's not true for everyone, but it's true for me. Unfortunately, again, same story. It's just too expensive. I think it's not luxury, but I think it's something like $35 for the thing, and it's just a couple ounces. It's not really in my future, but I was so grateful to have this sample size with me. This is another thing that was in the box from Jennifer, and gosh, it was such a joy to use. It was really a pleasure that I got to have this little sample. The Fresh Soy Face Cleanser. This is another thing that was in the box from Jennifer, and I was very, very grateful because I was having to check my full-sized bottle of cleanser. I only have one of many things at this point because I've used up so much stuff. I'm down to one for a lot of the products that I use regularly, and I'm down to one for my second cleanse, and I just have this big bottle that was too big to take in my carry-on, but I couldn't be without a second cleanse. That was something that I couldn't skip on. So I had wrapped it up in a bunch of Ziplocs and tucked it into one of the bags of Tango clothes that we were checking, and I was just so not happy with it. And then I was so glad that this was in the box from Jennifer because I was able to take that out at the last minute and just use this as a second cleanse while I was gone. I've had a deluxe sample size of this before. I don't really like it. It's fine. It's a little thin for me. It feels thin and it's like a watery gel. It's not that lathery. It's fine. It's very, 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 very gentle. If gentle is what you want, then this is it. But it's also expensive. And so for me, gentle and expensive are not what I want in my second cleanse. I'm using a second cleanse from Mario Badescu that only costs $15 for a giant bottle, and it has glycolic acid in it. So it's pretty much the opposite of this. But this served me very well while I was traveling. Bunch of face masks. I used a lot of face masks on my travels. I've talked about the ones from My Real Skin before. This one from Papa Recipe, the Balm Bee Honey Mask. This was one that Jennifer gave me and I really loved this. I really like honey in skincare. This is from My Real Skin as well. This is my Beauty Diary Bird's Nest Mask. This is also one that Jennifer gave me. I liked the serum, but it was too small for my face. It was like too small this way, and so I couldn't get it properly on. And so it wasn't ideal in that way, but it served its purpose. And then this one is by Hada Labo, and this Courtney sent to me in her box that came last week. I really liked this. It wasn't that serum-y, which was really interesting compared to the other ones. All of the serum was in the mask rather than being left behind somewhat in the packet. And so it was easy. It was really easy to adhere. It was a really nice, thick, cottony mask. It felt higher quality than the ones that I've been using. And even though it wasn't dripping with serum when I took it out, it did take a really, really long time to dry out. So I have a feeling this is a really good mask. Courtney gave me one other one, and I think I might kind of save it for a special occasion or save it for when I want to wear a mask for a really long time while still doing active things instead of just lying there and hoping that it doesn't slide off my face, because I got the sense that this one wouldn't slide off my face. Not that the other ones would, and the other ones they're good. They're very, very good. Really good for the price and the purpose for which I need them, which is to seal in a bunch of really good skincare. But yeah, I particularly enjoyed this one. Let's just say that. I used up my first bottle of the Simple Sensitive Skin Experts Hydrating Cleansing Oil. This is the cleansing oil that I had decided on after somewhat of a search. I think this lasted me 2 months. It's only 4.2 fluid ounces, and I think it was not last empties but the empties before in which I shared that I had purchased this. I repurchased it. It's only about $7. It's less than $10, and so that's, you know, $3 or $4 a month for cleansing oil. I'm really happy with that. I'm happy with how long this lasted, even though the bottle looks really small. It's not quite as small as it looks, especially compared to some high-end products that look bigger than this, but aren't actually. So price per ounce is good. Length of time that it lasted me is really good for the price. I've already replaced it and I'm happy with that. However, I couldn't take this with me in my carry-on. It's 4.2 ounces, so it's another one that I had wrapped up and packaged and that I was planning to put into our checked bags. And imagine my delight when I opened the box from Jennifer and inside of it was this deluxe sample size of the DHC Deep Cleansing Oil. The DHC Deep Cleansing Oil. This is a cult classic K-beauty cleansing oil, and I had never had the chance to use it, but I was pretty confident that my skin wouldn't react badly to it. So I took it with me and I left the simple one behind. It definitely worked, but it was much stiffer, thicker oil than the simple one. The simple one is a really thin oil, and as soon as the water hits it, it emulsifies and just washes right away. This one behaves more like an oil, more like olive oil or something. It's like a little bit water resistant. It takes a little more work to work it into the skin and a little more work to wash it away. In that way, I didn't love using it as much as I loved using the simple one, so I won't be switching to purchasing this based on my experience with it, but I do recommend it as a good solid cleansing oil, especially if you prefer one that has a little bit more beef to it compared to the one from Simple. I'm essentially decluttering this Peter Thomas Roth mud mask. I had purchased a set of little half-size masks from PTR at this point almost 2 full years ago, which is why I'm decluttering this, because I used all the other ones and I really loved them. The pumpkin enzyme one, The rose hydrating one was really good. The cucumber hydrating one. All of the other ones were quite good. This one, I never was quite convinced that it didn't dry out and maybe even break out my skin a little bit. I just never felt like I clicked with it, and I feel like I've let it go for too long. I've definitely put my fingers in this jar a number of times back in the day, and then it's been sealed up tight for probably over a year without me opening it, and I don't want to open it anymore. And again, we're getting close to the end of the year, and I'm not going to be running out of masks. I'm not going to be purchasing any masks. I can get rid of this without being worried that I'm going to buy something in its stead and accidentally break my rules. It's just not going to happen. So away it goes. Y'all, my night creams. The Laneige Water Care Special Care Water Sleeping Mask. The Laneige Water Sleeping Mask, which we all know is one that I invested in several months ago at this point. By the end, I was so over this. Those of you who said that it was too thin for me were correct. It was okay and it didn't not work, but it is not what I want in a night mask. And even though it's a relatively good price per ounce as Sephora skincare goes, it's not as low as I want to go, because I go through this stuff like water. No pun intended. I mean, any night sleeping mask, I just use such a thick layer. I really need to be able to use it liberally to keep my dry skin in a happy condition. So retroactively, I have decided that this was actually too expensive for me in spite of its pretty low price tag, and I also don't like the formula very much. I was using it in tandem with this other one, and that's why this lasted so long, because usually I go through a jar about this size in maybe a month and a half. What happened was I ran out of night cream completely. I ordered this one, and then there were a couple of days in between where I had truly nothing. So I went digging through Joe's stuff, and I found this. I had purchased it for him a long time ago, last year maybe, in an effort to try to get him to use some skincare at night. He probably used it once or twice. No, that's not true. He had probably used a quarter of the jar, but he had definitely fallen out of the habit of using it. He wasn't using it. It was languishing on his shelf. And I was like, hey, can I use some of that? And he was like, yeah, of course, take the whole thing. So I didn't break my rules by ordering this, even though this existed in our house, because this belonged to Joe. It was his. I never would have thought of using it if I hadn't been desperate. But I used it that first night and I loved it. It's so great. It's perfect. I think it's only $10. It's the exact type of thing that I'm looking for when it comes to a drugstore price night cream. And I did get it at, I want to say, the grocery store in the skincare aisle somewhere. It's got safflower seed oil, glycerin, stearic acid. It's got a bunch of sesame seed oil, avocado oil. It's got a bunch of plant oils and kind of basic, hefty ingredients for sealing in the moisture in your skin. And it's just a good, solid, simple overnight cream. I am going to try the CeraVe one. What I have right now is something that Tara sent to me in her box. It's the Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Factors and Hyaluronic Acid. So I can use this as a night cream. I'm not empty of this category quite yet. When this is over, I will be, and I will need to replace this category, and then I will buy the one from CeraVe that you guys have been recommending. But I can't do that until I'm done with this. However, this only has 1 ounce in it, I believe. Yeah, 1 ounce. So I will probably go through it really fast, because I'm not kidding when I tell you that I use a lot. If the CeraVe one is not my true dream, I will probably go back to this. It's 4 ounces, it's a huge jar, and it's only about $10. So that's an amazing price per ounce for a night cream for me. The other thing I might do if I don't end up loving the one from CeraVe is just look into other products from Derma E, because to be honest, I would prefer this if it was not in a jar. So I'm wondering if they have a cream that is this heavy duty, or that would serve just as well, that comes in a bottle with a pump. If they do, I might give that one a try. I also ran out of C Firma, but here's what happened. My beautiful downstairs neighbor, when I was over at their house probably a month or two ago, she gave me a partially used bottle of C Firma. She said that it was irritating her skin, or something was irritating her skin and it wasn't sitting well with her anymore, and she hadn't been using it, and she knew that it was going to go bad, and she just wanted me to have it. So I believe that this is that bottle. I'm not quite sure. I might have mixed it up with the one that I already had, because I had one that I was not even yet halfway through at the time. I believe what I did was I started using hers because I think hers was older, and I used hers up. That's this, but I still have my bottle of C Firma that's only about halfway done. So I'm not going to have to repurchase vitamin C serum, but I am kind of thinking about researching a different vitamin C serum to purchase when I'm finished with my bottle of C Firma, because my sense about C Firma is that it works really, really well for the first month after I open it, and then as it starts to darken and oxidize, it stops working as well. Maybe that's all in my head, but that's the sense I get. So I'm kind of curious about other more stable forms of ascorbic acid that I can put on my face. I'm going to watch Gothamista's video. Don't worry, I've seen it before, but I don't really remember. So I'm going to go back and watch that again. But if you guys have any other recommendations for consistently potent vitamin C, let me know. I would love to know. The other thing I would like to find is one that's not quite as expensive. I'm willing to pay the price for vitamin C because to me it's one of those really important powerhouse ingredients, but it would be really awesome if I could find one that works super well that doesn't cost quite as much as the one that I'm currently using. So I'm counting primer as kind of a makeup product. I've moved into the more makeup-y products. That was the last true skincare product, and then these are all kind of makeup-y things. That's exciting. So I have two setting sprays. One's a little deluxe size sample of All Nighter that came as a perk with some kind of replacements order. I can't really remember where this came from, but I acquired it and then immediately used it up because I really like All Nighter. I don't think I'm gonna buy it ever again. I prefer something more nourishing and more glowy, but I like it because the sprayer is so generous and full, and I also like that it locks in your makeup. So it's like when I have it, I'm gonna use it, but I don't think I'll buy it. I finally finished the Smashbox Photo Finish So Chill Coconut Primer Water. I sorely regretted having purchased this, partly because halfway through this bottle, it really hit home just how fast I go through setting spray, and it became clear that this is one of those products that I can't afford to purchase at high-end prices. I have got to stick to drugstore setting sprays. It's just not okay with me to be paying $30, $32, $35 for a bottle of something like this if I'm going to go through it in like a month and a half, which I think is what, maybe not a month and a half, maybe it was like 2 months, but still, it's too much. It's too frivolous of a product. It's too, if I'm squirming a tiny bit at spending $80 on my vitamin C serum, if it lasts me 6 months, then I better be squirming at spending $30 or $35 on a bottle of this, which is nowhere near as important to me as the vitamin C serum, if this is only going to last me like 2 months. So that's one of the reasons why I regretted this, is because no more high-end setting spray for me. But the other reason is just that the sprayer got kind of janky after a while. It was like on my face. I didn't feel like it really did much. It didn't leave me glowy. It smelled nice, but I kind of got sick of the smell. The novelty wore off, let's just say that. I was basically, my use of setting spray kind of waned towards the end of this because I just didn't enjoy it anymore. And it really did leave dots on my face, which I don't hate as much as a lot of people do because I don't really wear foundation. So it didn't ruin my makeup, the fact that the sprayer wasn't perfect. But it was annoying, and sometimes it would spray into my eye and that would cause my eyes to water, and that was really annoying. So good riddance to the Smashbox So Chill Coconut Primer Water. And the thing I replaced it with, I love. I decided to try Pixie, and I've never really tried Pixie before. I actually purchased this when we were in Portland because this ran out towards the beginning of the month before we left, and I didn't have time to replace it, but again, my skin was feeling dry, and I thought I would like to have a hydrating mist with me, not only to set my face in the morning, but to bring with me and hydrate my skin throughout the day while I was like vending in hotel lobbies and stuff like that. And that's exactly what I did. I got this right after we arrived in Portland. We went to Target to pick up some supplies, and I was delighted to see that it's only 2.7 fluid ounces, which means that I could fly with it in my carry-on. So I got it. They were out of the regular one. That's why I got the rose one. I would have gotten the regular glow mist, I guess, but I really like the rose one. When I run out of this, if I decide to repurchase one from Pixi, I'll probably try the regular one because I would like to know. But I find that this leaves my skin very nice and glowy, but without being illuminated in any kind of glittery or hyper intense way. And I feel like it's nourishing. I love the sprayer. It's robust. It's lovely. And the only issue I have with it is that I'm going through it so quickly. You can see it's half gone, and we were in Portland pretty much a month ago. So maybe a little bit less than a month ago. This is probably like a 6 to 8 week prospect for me, a bottle of this. But at $15, that's much more stomachable than the 32 or 35 that this was costing me for about the same amount of time. 3 primers kicked the bucket this month. 3 primers. One was the Laura Mercier Foundation Primer Hydrating, which was another thing that my downstairs neighbor gave to me. I'm sorry, Stuffy's barking. I've got to power through. So on that same visit where she gave me her half-used bottle of C Firma, she gave this to me. It was barely used at all. I really love the Laura Mercier Radiance Primer. It's a very lightweight, somewhat sticky primer that sets and is very, very glowy. And that is one I'm kind of dying to have again. Like that, I keep thinking about it. That's something that might be on my list for next year, a glowy primer, and that glowy primer in particular, I miss it. And it's been months since I panned the sample size that I had of that. This is interesting. It's hydrating in theory. It feels much more lotiony than most silicone primers, but ultimately it is a silicone primer, I think. I don't know if it's actually got silicone in it, but it has that feeling. It feels lotiony when you first put it on, and it feels kind of cooling and hydrating. And then as it dries down, you start feeling that slippy, almost powdery feeling that regular primers give. And it doesn't actually hydrate the skin. I think it just feels hydrating to apply. So I'm not against that because I don't need a hydrating primer. I'm not a person who leans on primer for my skin's moisture. I have a lot of other steps that take care of that. To me, primer is about creating a barrier between my skin and the makeup that I put on my skin, and making it so that my makeup is more likely to last. This definitely did that, but I didn't love using it. I just didn't love using it. It's not the kind of primer that I love. I don't like those lotiony primers. I don't like the coconut hangover RX, for example. That's another very lotiony primer. I just don't like that. To me, lotion is for lotion and primer is a different type of product entirely. So why would you try to act like it's a lotion? I was, however, impressed by this product if this is what you want. I was like, oh, people who want this are really, really gonna love this, but I don't want this, so I don't. I ended up reaching for this one much more excitedly, much more willingly than that one, which is interesting. It's the Smashbox Photo Finish, the basic, the original, just clear, basically just a silicone paste. I know it looks like there's still some in here, but due to the shape of this little bottle, I couldn't squeeze any more out. And, you know, it's the most basic clear silicone primer ever. It's like the first. And I used primers like this for years and years and years before the primer market started exploding and different types of primers started being developed. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed using it. I'm definitely not going to buy it or anything like it again, but it was like memories. It's a nice product. And how amazing is this? There was actually a deluxe sample size of the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer in the box from Jennifer, and this is my holy grail primer. I have a full size of it, and I did have it in my makeup bag ready to go, but in the minutes that I had in between when I met with Jennifer and when I went to the airport, I switched it out. So I only had to take this little one. I'm getting a little bit tired of this primer, even though I say it's my holy grail. It's so thick, and I've gotten used to having options for primer. So when I had this one, which a friend gave me, this one, which a friend gave me, and that one, and I was kind of rotating between them, I was loving it as much as ever. Now that I'm only down to just the one, I miss having a lighter primer to reach for on certain days. So that's interesting. That's good to know. I'm kind of a primer junkie. I'm fine just having one. It's perfectly fine. But to be honest, it feels a little bit too expensive to be using every day. Isn't that interesting? That's actually how I feel. I'm only figuring it out right now on camera. That's the thing that's making me squeamish. It feels like a precious bottle, and it is expensive. I think it's like $32 or something. It was nice to have these as options because I felt like when I was having a little bit less formal of a makeup day or less intense primer needs, I could reach for one of these two and save my holy grail. Now that I only have it, I don't want to go without primer, so I'm being forced to use it every day, and that means that I'm using it up kind of quickly for my comfort. So that tells me that I might need to start exploring drugstore options for primer next year. So if you know of anything that is similar to the Urban Decay Optical Illusion, a really, really thick, pasty primer at the drugstore, or similar to the Laura Mercier Radiance Primer, let me know. And that, my friends, is it. That is it for my October empties. I think you could probably see at this point why there were so many of them, because there were so many of those little samples that I took with me traveling. If Jennifer hadn't met with me and given me that beautiful box of lovely sample size skincare products, I wouldn't have nearly this many empties. But as you heard, I'm so grateful. It saved me so much trouble, and in some cases really saved my skin from the ravages of travel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will remember to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work.